Growing up in the 2000s, I was exposed to a wide variety of different consoles. I had a Sega Genesis, a Nintendo Wii, the SNES, and the PS2. These four consoles definitely shaped their generation when it came out, and I got to experience a wide variety of games that I still love to this day. But there's always been this group of games by this one character that have always stuck with me, and to this day I still have major enjoyment for, and that's Sonic. I've been playing Sonic since I was a kid. Even though I was born in the 2000s, I didn't grow up when these games exactly came out, but my family, we had all the copies of these games on our Sega Genesis, and I got to play them even though I wasn't born in that time. And I have fell in love truly with all these games. I love these games very much, but there's just one that just stays away from the pack that I just love the most, and what in my opinion is in my top 3 favorite games of all time, and that's Sonic 3 and Knuckles. This game is very, very important to me, and to this day I still believe every single person that likes platformers, that likes open world design in terms of how big these levels are, multiple ways to get to the exit, the story, the presentation, the soundtrack. This game is the leading example of what a greatest game of all time to me has to reach, and to me what every single Sonic game after it needs to go back to and reach the same heights as this game. But all I can do is just keep yagging and yagging about what I like about it. I want to talk to y'all specifically why I love this game and why I believe it is the greatest Sonic game of all time. Welcome to my thoughts on Sonic the Hedgehog 3 and Knuckles. Sega! With this being Sonic the Hedgehog 3, obviously the story takes place after Sonic 2. Sonic and Tails find out that Eggman is on an island named Angel Island trying to get a power source called the Master Emerald. Sonic and Tails head over there with Sonic's on Super Sonic. He ready to just end it real quick, and then is interrupted by Knuckles the Echidna, who smacks the hell out of Sonic out of his supersonic form and steals all the emeralds and puts them in special rings for Sonic to collect. Throughout the rest of the game, you're going through all these different levels to basically meet up with Knuckles, beat him, and tell him that Eggman's really the bad guy. And then Knuckles sees for himself Eggman is the bad guy when he steals the Master Emerald right in front of him and beats up Knuckles. And now Knuckles has to give all of his trust to Sonic and Tails to save the day and stop Eggman. And that's happily what they do, defeating Eggman and ending the story and getting back the Master Emerald back to Knuckles, saving the day. And Angel Island gets to rise back up into the sky. The story is pretty simple. I simplified it a lot more than... It's pretty simple. The story is pretty simple, but I like it. I don't mind Sonic stories that have a simple, fun aesthetic. Like, it's not like moody or dark. And I don't mind moody or dark Sonic, but I also don't mind lighthearted tone Sonic. And that's what I liked about the story. It's not that big of a deal because the story's pretty like, it's the Genesis. They're not going really crazy on a lot of stories unless you're an RPG, but it's still nice to see, and I think it's a good story. I don't think like that's not the main thing that to me makes this game the greatest Sonic game or one of the greatest platformers of all time, but I still think it's an enjoyable story that's easy to follow along, especially when you're playing it and seeing all the stage transitions and all of the Knuckles and trying to advert your progress and constantly fighting Eggman. It's really nice, and I don't mind it at all. But that's not as important as what to me makes the greatest Sonic game ever, the gameplay. So let's get into the main bulk of this game, the gameplay. Sonic 3 is technically the 4th or 5th Sonic game that came out, and this is after Sonic Team has finally perfected the gameplay. So I already believe that Sonic 2 is perfect in terms of its control, but I do like a lot of things that Sonic 3 does more with the gameplay in terms of the special stages, the control a little bit, especially with giving characters like Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles all their unique attributes and stuff like that. And the level design. I feel like all those things are, in my opinion, are better than Sonic 2, but there are definitely some problems that I have with the level design that I will talk about later on. But first, let's start off with the characters. So right now, playable, you can play as Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles. Depending on the version that you play, you can also play a mismatch of them. So right now, I am playing the Angel Island Revisited version of Sonic 3, which in my opinion is the best version to play Sonic 3. And they allow you to play as Sonic and Tails, Sonic by himself, Tails by himself, Knuckles by himself, Tails and Knuckles, Knuckles and Tails. It's really, really cool. I like a lot of the extra features they have, especially with the whole sound mixing and all the other options. For example, when you turn Supersonic or Hypersonic in this game, it changes the music to the invincibility sound, and it gets, I like the music in this game a lot, which I'm gonna talk about later, but that sound gets really, really, really repetitive, and it's not as good or even close to as good as any of the level tracks. And I like that in Angel Island Revisited, they allow you to change that. They allow you to change the soundtrack that where even when you go super or hyper, it still only plays the level music, which I really, really like. Those are some of the, just a small amount of features that I believe that the Angel Island Revisited version does better than, you know, the original Sonic 3 and also Sonic Origins Collection. But Sonic is able to do the same stuff he was able to do in Sonic 2, except that he has a new ability called the Insta Shield. If you press the action button or the jump button again while in the air, he will be able to put this little invincibility barrier over him. It also has an extended hitbox, so it actually can attack enemies as well. So it's used as a tool to protect you and to attack, but it's also like, it actually takes skill to use. I'm bad at using it. But if you can get really good at it, you can never take damage as Sonic, which is really, really nice, especially because this game is pretty hard in my opinion. Another thing that Sonic can do is that he is able to use abilities from the shield. So we have three types of shields. We have the fire shield, the bubble shield, and the electric shield. Every character can get these shields, but only Sonic can use some of their properties. For example, when Sonic uses the fire shield, he's able to dash across the screen. If Sonic has the electric shield, he's able to do a double jump. And if he has the bubble shield, he's able to do a little bounce on the ground. Every character, Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles, can all use these shields, but they can't use those abilities. Like Knuckles, for example, does not get a double jump if he gets the electric shield. And that's what also gives Sonic some uniqueness compared to the other characters, because to be honest, the other characters have technically more crazier abilities. For example, Tails is also back in this game. He's almost as fast. I think he's almost as fast as Sonic, or is about the same speed as Sonic. But he doesn't have as high of a jump, but he can fly. He can also fly very long. He can also swim. I think he's the only character in the game that can swim. So it also makes his like levels easier, and because he can fly, so Tails is technically the easy version of the game. But Tails does have some harder fights. Like the Marble Garden fight for Tails is way harder than it is for Sonic and stuff like that. But Tails is pretty easy. He also gets access to a super form if you get all the Chaos Emeralds and the Super Emeralds, which is really, really nice, which we're going to talk about more in the special ring section. But Knuckles is also in the game. His whole story takes place after the game, after the main events of the game. And so he's not fighting Eggman, he's fighting Mecha Sonic and Egg Robos and stuff like that. Knuckles is able to glide. I don't think his jump is not as high as Sonic. He's as fast. Everyone's like basically like this, either the same speed or a little bit slower. But also Knuckles is able to have exclusive pathways because he's strong and he's able to break certain rocks and stuff like that that other characters can't break. Knuckles is also considered the hard mode of the game because of his lower jump and because his levels are generally harder than Sonic and Tails' version, even though this game is pretty hard in general. So that's just my opinion. But all three of these characters are it's really nice to see this. One misconception I think a lot of us have with Sonic sometimes is that we don't like seeing other characters, which is not true. We just don't like seeing other characters if they don't play as good as Sonic or similar to Sonic. Like everyone in this game is fast. Everyone in this game has abilities or able to use shields and stuff like that. But every character has something that makes them different. Sonic's able to use the shields. Sonic is able to have the Insta Shield. Tails is able to fly, to swim, and that Knuckles is able to glide and go through certain pathways. But they all have the same basic understanding of Sonic gameplay, which is being fast and be able to platform. And I feel like in other Sonic games, like Sonic Adventure 2 and Sonic Adventure, sometimes that people think that we just don't like having other characters besides Sonic, but that's not true. The only thing we don't like is just when those characters don't play as fun as Sonic or don't have like the main thing that gives you a Sonic game, which is being fast, being able to platform, and having abilities. And I feel like in other games, like in Sonic Adventure 2 and Sonic 06, they definitely struggle with that by taking away people's stuff
instead of like, for example, Shadow and Silver being slow. I still think Shadow's not really slow, but he's like really slippery. While Silver in that game, he should be as fast as them, but he's like very slow. He has his abilities, but to be honest, his abilities don't really matter compared to just Sonic, because it's way easier to just play Sonic. You just homing attack, while Silver, it feels like you have an extra step, which makes him not as fun, if you get what I'm saying. But that's basically what I want to talk about with the whole like being able to play multiple characters. That's the best thing. One of the best things about this game, and what gives us this replayability, is that every character, you're able to play the game as many times as you want with all these different characters, and it's going to feel like a new game. And I like that about that. I wish more Sonic games would do that. I like that about Sonic Mania. I thought Sonic Forces was going to try and do that with adding Shadow, but like he just had like 4 stages or whatever. It wasn't really a thing. It wasn't really a thing, if you get what I mean. But I don't mind, like I said, more characters being in this game or being in Sonic games besides Sonic, as long as they play as fun as Sonic. If they don't play as fun, then like what's the point? Because then I'm just gonna want to play as only Sonic. So that's what I want to talk about with the characters. We're gonna talk about more of the bonus stages, the new special stages, and then we're gonna talk about levels and stuff like that. So let's talk about the bonus stages. So in this game, whenever you cross a checkpoint with a certain amount of rings, you're able to go into these different bonus stages, which allow you to get shields, rings, stuff like that. And they're just like, the whole goal is basically just to reward you. And you can go across them like a checkpoint in Sonic 2 with a certain amount of rings and jump into it. So as you notice, that's not how you reach into special stages in this game. In this game, we have these rings. So one thing we're gonna talk about more in Sonic 3 is what I love about it is the exploration and the ability to explore these levels. These levels are huge. These levels are huge. And they have a lot of reasons for you to want to explore. Besides just being able to like satisfy your curiosity and be able to take either a top, middle, or bottom path of every level, there's also a go around and explore these levels because of the special rings. These special rings allow you to enter the new special stages and to be able to get the Chaos Emeralds, and then when you reach the Sonic 3 and Knuckles portion, the Super Emeralds. These special stages are personally my second favorite in the entire series. First is Sonic Mania with the whole 3D. I do like these special stages way more than Sonic 2 with the half pipe. These special stages, in my opinion, require skill, a lot of skill, and also require you to be very patient and reaction. So it starts off very slow to get you used to it, but the longer and longer you're in the special stages, the faster and faster they go. And you need to go and collect all these blue spheres, and it speeds up, and you got to be able to turn and jump at the right time. I'm telling y'all, on this playthrough, I messed up so many times on the special stages. I didn't get all of the Chaos Emeralds and Super Emeralds until I got to Lava Reef. So yeah, that's how much I suck at these special stages. But if you're really good at them, you can technically get all the Chaos Emeralds and Mushroom Hill. I think you can get them in Mushroom Hill or Hydro City. And then you can also get all of the Super Emeralds. I believe you can get all the Chaos Emeralds in Angel Island or Hydro City. I think you can get them all in that level, in both those levels. And you can get all the Super Emeralds, I believe, in Mushroom Hill and Flying Battery. I think you can just get it in Mushroom Hill, but I think you can also get it in Flying Battery, basically, if they don't have enough in Mushroom Hill. But they give you plenty of opportunity to get these special rings to get the Chaos Emeralds, but you have to find it. Like sometimes I was struggling sometimes to find these special rings. I had to look up a guide sometimes to like look up where they were at. But that's another good thing I like about the game, is that it gives you an incentive to search, to look for those special rings, or to just look for goodies. Because in this game, it rewards you a lot for just checking a certain area that looks like a wall, like checking if it's open, checking like little crevices, the very top of platforms. This game gives you a lot of incentive to look around, and I love that. And these stages are, like I said, did I say that already? They are huge. These stages are huge, which is a good and bad thing, which I will talk about more and more. The bad thing is that, like, it's a good and bad thing. So the good thing is that these stages are huge. There's so much gameplay. There's so much Sonic in this game to play. Sometimes when I play Sonic 2, I love Sonic 2, but sometimes I feel Sonic 2 is too short sometimes. While this game is a Sonic game. This game is long. Like, this game is long. Some stages will take you up to 9 to 10 minutes, and when you reach 10 minutes, that's when like you die. Like, you're not supposed to reach 10 minutes in this game, but you can reach. There are some stages I beat at 9:30, 9:40, not only because I was exploring, but because these stages are huge, and sometimes you can get lost, which is a good and bad thing. I feel like it's a good thing because there's a lot of like exploration that I do love in Sonic games, and not just Sonic games, but games in general, being able to explore and being rewarded for exploring. But there's also a bad thing because some of these stages can drag. I'm going to talk about it more in the levels portion, but some of these stages I do not like. Some of these stages really hurt this game sometimes for me, but that's just me personally. I talk to other people and they don't feel the same way I do, but some of these stages can drag and just be annoying. I'm talking to you, Sandopolis Act 2. Let's get into the levels. Let's talk about all the levels. I'm going to go one by one and talk about what I like about them, what I don't like about them, and why they're good. Angel Island, hands down, probably one of the best intro stages next to Emerald Hill and Green Hill. Those are both really, really, really good intro stages, and I believe Angel Island is another really, really good stage. It also has some of the best music. Act 2. We're going to talk about music later. But Angel Island is really, really easy and nice. I believe it's a really comfortable first stage, and we have really fun boss fights. This game has really, really, really fun boss fights. Not really the first one. I don't believe the first act boss fights are really that good. Every stage has a mini boss, right? Which is on the first act, and we have the Eggman boss, which is on the second act. I don't really mess with the first act bosses really that much. They're pretty easy, pretty brain dead. But the second fights with Eggman, I like most of them in this game, and I also like just the music. But we're gonna talk about that more later. But I do like the first level. It's really, really good first level to introduce you into the game. The next level is Hydro City. So as you notice with every single Sonic game, for some reason in all the 2D games, they always start off the next level with either a slower stage or a stage with like water. So I don't know why they always do that. But in this level, this is probably my favorite water stage in the entire series. It is really, really fun. The music is amazing. But the stage is not like annoying. I feel like the stage is way more enjoyable to me than Chemical Plant. And if you're really good, especially on the Act 2, you can get through a lot of it without even touching the water. But when you do touch the water, you're going through it fast. It's not like a slow haul like it is for some levels, like in Sonic 1 with Labyrinth Zone, or sometimes in Sonic 2 with Chemical Plant. I feel like Chemical Plant sometimes struggles with not being slow in the water parts. With in Sonic 3 and Hydro City, you are going fast. It is really fun, and I do like the boss fight. Both the boss fights actually in this act. I do like the Act 1 and Act 2 boss fights. And if you're really, really good at the game, you should be able to get Supersonic by this time. So you should be good for the rest of the game until you reach the Sonic 3 and Knuckles portion. Let's talk about Marble Garden Zone. Let's talk about these next two zones. Marble Garden Zone and Carnival Night Zone. I absolutely hate these zones the most. So Marble Garden, my problem with it is that I like that how big these stages are, but this level insinuates how big these levels are. This level, you will get lost. I am telling you that right now. I hate the spinning tops. I hate the enemies. I hate the whole, like, having the whole blue thing, having to go, like, climb up these walls. I just hate how steep everything in this level is. It's not fun, and this, in my opinion, I'm going to talk about more later, is my favorite, like, it's probably my top 3 favorite Sonic soundtrack, and I absolutely hate Marble Garden Zone. Maybe because I just hate this level so much that I hate the music as well. But the music doesn't even sound good. It doesn't even like sound like fun or anything like that or enjoyable. It sounds like the excruciating slog that this level is. And just playing this level made me like regret everything. Like when I was playing this, I was like, damn, I don't want to play this anymore. But I know like it's just because of the zone. Like every game is gonna have shitty zones. Like for example, Sonic 2, Westopolis. Sonic 1, low-key everything after the first level, after Green Hill, besides Spring Yard. But these two levels are definitely the most annoying. And I said 2, like I said earlier, Carnival Night Zone, also annoying. I hate the music. It's so repetitive. I don't really care about the whole red candy cane things. They're not that annoying. But the whole level is just annoying with all the springs and then not knowing where to go. It's very, very annoying. And those springs, I keep bringing them up because the springs are so annoying. Like I'm telling you, bro, those springs are not fun. This level is not fun. I don't mind the bosses at the end of each act, but those springs are really, really, really annoying. But other than that, it's fine. There's only like 3 zones in this game that I really hate. These are 2 of them, but it just sucks that they're back to back. Like sometimes when I play Sonic 3, it's just like, man, I gotta go through Marble Garden and Carnival Night back to back. And it's definitely draining and definitely, in my opinion, the lowest part of the game. But we go back into the hype part of the game with Ice Cap, which is iconic because of the music. But Ice Cap is fun, especially with the beginning of the snowboarding section. Even though you're not doing anything, you're just watching Sonic go. But it looks nice. I love the sprites. I love how the game looks, and it's fun. And the level's not annoying. The level does challenge you in some ways, especially like in Act 2, where you especially gotta you actually have to jump and put effort because things will loop in the stage. And I do like the enemies. I do like the snow. I do like the boss fights at the end. And Ice Cap is pretty fun. It definitely sometimes can get carried by the music. Like sometimes in this game, when the music is just so good that the levels are just like, you're just enjoying yourself no matter what, it's amazing. Especially because this game is hard. Like, this game is hard in my opinion. Like, this is probably the hardest 2D Sonic game besides Sonic 1 because of just how boring Sonic 1 can be sometimes. But this game is hard. Like, I get hit a lot in this game. Like, I'm losing rings constantly. It's hard for me to keep over like 50 rings in this game, and it's not because it's like a lot of dickheadish design or whatever, or a lot of dumb enemies, which some enemies are annoying. But this game just has like, you're gonna have to play your A game. Like, this is the 3rd game in the series. They're not pulling their punches anymore. They gave you 2 zones to do that, and so they're trying to basically like give you like the opportunity, like, this is the 3rd game, you need to bring your A game, this is the hardest game. And it's hard, but it's not unfair. Like, a lot of the mechanics that they have in the game, they introduce to you before. Like, for example, good level design and good game design is whenever you introduce a new element of a stage and a free environment to where the player won't get punished a lot. For example, in Sandopolis, they give you multiple chances to try out the little lever to pull the light, and they show you that beforehand in an environment that is non-dangerous, so you can get used to it instead of just pushing it on you and you gotta make a decision on the whim and figure out what the thing does. They already showed you what it does. And so what they want you to do in most of these levels is that they show you what the mechanic is in a carefree environment and then force you to make a decision later on with your reaction times and be able to make a decision on the fly because you know how the mechanics work. And I really like that about game design. That's what I'm my favorite about any type of game. I don't like when games just bring something out of nowhere and don't give you a chance to try it out, and then you get messed around and you just die because of that. And I believe that Sonic 3 does that pretty pristine. A lot of stuff in this game they introduce to you ahead of time to get you prepared for it, and so that when later on the stage, when they put it on you on a whim, you know what you're doing. And I like that a lot, and I feel like Ice Cap does that. I feel like every single level in this game does that, and we're gonna talk about it more and more, but that's one of the things that I really like about this game. So after Ice Cap, we have Launch Base. Launch Base is okay. It's an okay final level for Sonic 3, the Sonic 3 portion. It's fine. I love the big arm boss fight. That boss fight is amazing. It's fun. The music is music is amazing. We're gonna talk about more music later, but Launch Base is a pretty nice final stage. I do like watching the final part with Knuckles falling off the little like platform and stuff. Like, it's good. Like, it's a good final level to Sonic 3, and then it leads into the Sonic 3 and Knuckles portion, which is Mushroom Hill. I love Mushroom Hill. I love the music. I love it. This is also where you're able to start collecting the Super Emeralds, and you can get most of them in this level. You can actually get, I think you can get all of them in this level if you're good enough or able to know where all the locations are at. But Mushroom was a pretty good first level for this game, especially because, remember, Sonic 3 and Knuckles were released separately, and they have the whole lock-on feature where you're able to put Sonic and Knuckles on top of Sonic 3 to combine the game and play the full game at its capacity. Mushroom Hill is the first portion of the Sonic and Knuckles part if you're playing it separately, and I think it's a really good first level. It's not too hard. It's not a lot of like really like hard enemies or hard mechanics. It's pretty easy. It does, like, I believe it does get harder and harder. Like, this part of the game is definitely the hardest, but this is a really good first level for this portion of the game. And the music, I love the music. Flying Battery is also not a hard stage. There are some parts that are kind of a little difficult with the anti-gravity stuff sometimes if you're not used to it, or getting used like to anti-gravity in 2D games. But Flying Battery has amazing soundtrack as well. Really good stage, and it has a funny boss fight at the end with the whole like blowing up the Eggman's own base because he put a laser the middle of his base to destroy Sonic, and it's so dumb. It's so dumb. 300 IQ. But Flying Battery is pretty nice. But it's pretty good. Like, as you can see, Sonic 3 Knuckles, we have Mushroom Hill, Flying Battery. But then it leads into the most annoying stage in the game. Let's talk about it. Sandopolis Act 1 is fine. The music is also great. It's fine. Sandopolis Act 1 is a fine stage. Act 2, this level insinuates why you will sometimes hate this game or hate certain zones in this game. Sandopolis, Marble Garden, and Carnival Night. Act 2 of Sandopolis is like on that level of those stages as being annoying, especially with how many like different ways to get to the gold ring, which is good but bad because this stage is big and sometimes you can get lost. But it's also annoying in terms of like the whole level feature is fine, but I kept dying a lot, especially on the part where you have to reach to the door in time. So they have this little like black pulley thing they have to push, and it gives you enough time to like go to the door and make it. And if you don't make it, then you have to go all the way back, push it again, stuff like that. They do that in the carefree environment to teach you it, because later on they're going to show you that you're going to have to do that, and then you're also going to have to escape sand. So they also have sand at a level that rises up. If you get put in a bad situation, you can die by getting crushed because of the sand, and also because you're trying to make it in time to the door. So like they give you two things to do. This is good game design, like I said, but just this level is annoying, and that's just my preference. I'm not saying it's like, it's not a bad, I don't think it's a bad design level at all. I don't think anything in this game besides Carnival Night Zone and Marble Garden Zone are bad design levels, but this level is just hard and annoying, and I think all of us can agree that this level is annoying. But I don't think it's bad gameplay wise, like design wise, and I think a lot of, maybe some people like it. I don't know. I think there's an overall consensus that no one likes this level, but if you do, let me know in the comments. I hate this level. But after this, I think the rest of the game is like smooth sailing. I love Lava Reef like really much. Like, I love Lava Reef a lot. I like the music, which I need to stop talking about music because we're gonna talk about music later. But I love Lava Reef. I think the design of the level is pretty simple. It's not too hard, and it's also like very, very enjoyable. Like, it's not hard, but it's also not like super easy. Like, this is the later part of the game. This is like the near end part of the game. Like, after this, after Lava Reef, we have 4 more zones, and technically it's 3. We have Sky Sanctuary Zone, and we have Death Egg, and we have Doomsday Zone. But Sky Sanctuary Zone is 1 act, Death Egg is 2 acts, but Doomsday Zone is 1 act, and Hidden Palace Zone is also 1 act. So this is basically the like one of the last few stages with 2 acts, and it's fun. Like, it's fun. I do like the final boss a lot of this level. Like, this boss is really, really fun at the end, especially when you fall down and then the whole place turns into hell, and then like you have to go down into the lava and have to jump over all these platforms and let Eggman get hit by, you know, his own creation as always. But this level definitely has scope, and I love it a lot. I think it's probably my favorite level in this second half. Besides the final level, I think it's my favorite level in the second half of this game. I think it's Mushroom Hill, Flying Battery, then Lava Reef. That was one of my favorite stages in this half. I also like Sky Sanctuary Zone, but we're going to talk about that more later. It's not, I wish it had 2 acts. Hidden Palace Zone, it's not really an act. It's just you pulling up on Knuckles, slapping him with Hypersonic, going to have the cutscene where Eggman steals the Master Emerald. Knuckles sends you up in the Sky Sanctuary Zone, which you could think of this as Act 1, Act 2, but they're different zones. They have whole different mechanics and stuff like that. Which we're gonna talk about Sky Sanctuary Zone. Sky Sanctuary Zone is pretty nice. It's 1 act, and basically my favorite parts about it are the bosses. So you get to fight Mecha Sonic, I believe it's 4 times or 3 times. You get to fight him, and he uses old mechanics or contraptions that Eggman used. And at the end, you get to fight him, and it's basically the Metal Sonic fight of this game, because, you know, after Sonic CD, every single Sonic game gotta have like a Metal Sonic fight or like a Sonic copy fight. So it's nice, and it's really fun. Like, it's really, really fun. I also have some nostalgia for Mecha Sonic because I used to watch a lot of machinimas back in the day where they would make Mecha Sonic freaking busted. If you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. If you're tapped in, you know. If you know, you know. But I do have a lot of love for his design, and this whole zone, the zone's pretty nice. I do like the clouds, and let's talk about this. This level has the egg robos. Let's talk about the enemies in every single level. I think every single level in this game has unique enemies, which is really, really unique and for a game, especially a 2D game, because not a lot of games at that time, I believe, were putting the whole completely new enemies, new archetypes on every single level, which shows the amount of dedication and
the scale of this game. Like, they put a lot of time in this game, especially to make every single zone feel unique from each other. Like, every zone does not feel the same or has any of the same mechanics. Every level is different, and I love that about this game. I love that a lot. So after you beat the fuck out of Mecha Sonic, which you don't kill him because Mecha Sonic goes back later on to go into Knuckles' playthrough. He's Knuckles' final boss because Knuckles does not have Death Egg or Doomsday Zone. For Sonic and Tails, we have, I think Tails also has Doomsday Zone. If I'm tripping, I'm tripping. But you head into Death Egg and Doomsday Zone. Death Egg is fine. It's sometimes annoying. A lot of times in this level, you can actually brute force a lot of stuff. Like, sometimes I would just, like, if I didn't feel like waiting on a platform, I would just dash through all the electricity with rings and just keep jumping and jumping and jumping and just keep going. Like, I love that they give you an option to do that in this game, while in other Sonic games, like, I love Sonic Advance 2, but in Sonic Advance 2, they would have not let you do that. They would have had, like, bottomless platforms. Like, they would have had a bottomless pit, and you would have died for doing it. But I love that, like, I was able to, like, kind of, like, cheese it a little bit and do that. Like, that's what I love about classic Sonic, being able to, like, do some stuff like that. For example, like in Sonic 2 and Wing Fortress Zone, I think it's Wing Fortress Zone, where, like, there's a little fan that you're not supposed to go through, but if you get hit by it and then walk through it, you can skip half the level. And I love stuff like that in these classic Sonic games. And the only thing I don't like about Death Egg is the boss of the level, which is like this, like, Eggman's like on this contraption and you have to, like, keep on doing this anti-gravity thing and let it hit him. I don't like that part. It's kind of annoying, but it's fine. It's whatever. But it's definitely my least favorite part of the whole level or that stage in general. But we get put into one of the best parts of the level, which is the final boss, which is where Eggman's in this contraption and the music is amazing. And then you get to you have to attack his little hands, and then you have to, like, go and attack him and stop him from using the Master Emerald inside his chest. And if you don't have all the Chaos Emeralds and Super Emeralds, this is where the game ends and you get the bad ending. But if you have everything, you get one of the hypest levels of all time, which is Doomsday Zone. The music, oh, I need to stop talking about the music before we get to the soundtrack portion, but this stage is spectacle. Spectacle is so hype, and definitely one of my favorite final stages in any Sonic game. Way better than Sonic 2, way better than Sonic Heroes. Sonic Heroes sucks. I'm lying. That final level sucks, though, for Sonic Heroes. That whole Metal Overlord thing sucks. It's better than Sonic 06. It's better than, I think Doomsday Zone is probably better than any other modern Sonic game. I think Sonic Man is the only, like, final level in a game that's on the same level. It is a great final level and a great way to end off this game. That's Sonic 3. That's all the levels. That's all the stuff. I talked about all the gameplay. I think I talked about basically everything. For this review and my thoughts, I only played all of Sonic and Tails. I did play a little bit of Knuckles and Tails, but, like, what's more important, I played those before. I played those already, so, like, I don't really need to replay it if I don't really want to. I'm gonna play it soon. I kind of want to do it for a video or do it for, like, a stream, but I was fine with just playing Sonic and Tails for this review. So I love this game a lot. When I talk about the greatest Sonic game of all time, I talk about the gameplay, and sometimes this game has things that are frustrating, which every game does. But one of the things that I believe makes this the greatest Sonic game in terms of gameplay is definitely the open-ended of the zones, which could be a good and bad thing depending on who you're talking to or depending on the level. But I think being able to give the player not a linear way to get to the goal ring and to get to the level, the end of the level, is a really, really good thing in this game. And I think I love this game more than Sonic 2 because I feel like Sonic 2 is too short sometimes. You can blaze through that game really fast, and that's a good thing about it. That's what some people like about Sonic 2 over Sonic 3, but for me, I prefer Sonic 3 because it just feels like such a big adventure. Like, it feels like this is like what a Sonic game should be. This is what a Sonic adventure should be, no pun intended. But I love it a lot. I love the controls. I love most of the levels, and then we're gonna talk about soon, I love the music. This game's gameplay is, if I could recommend any person that has even played one Sonic game before, I would recommend this game. Like, this game is definitely going to be a little daunting if you've never played other Sonic games before, but it's really, really fun. And if you finish the game, even if you don't collect all the Chaos Emeralds or Super Emeralds, I think you will still enjoy this game a lot, and it is the leading example of what a Sonic game should be in terms of gameplay. In terms of story, we have way better stories than other Sonic games, but in terms of gameplay, which is the most important to me in any game, this game
it's a 10 out of 10. Not all the levels though. Some of the levels are terrible. Marble Garden is terrible. Carnival Night is terrible. Sandal Plus Act 2 is terrible. But they're only terrible because I don't like those stages. But they're not, in my opinion, they're not the worst gameplay wise or design wise. I think they still fit pristine game design. Let's talk about what makes this game at 10. I'm like, let's talk about what makes this game like the leading example of like what makes a Sonic game, the soundtrack. We can all admit, everyone knows, a good Sonic game has a good soundtrack. Even a bad Sonic game, most of the time has a good soundtrack, unless you're Sonic Chronicles. But this game, let's talk about some highlights. Angel Island Act 2 is amazing. This soundtrack, this track is so good. I love it way more than Act 1 because of, I don't know what that instrument is, that like marimba on it. I don't know what that is, but it just sounds so good. It's so addicting. I love it a lot. And also in Act 2 you get the first showing at the end of the level of Robotnik's theme, which is Robotnik, I think it's called Robotnik 2. That theme is probably, in my opinion, my favorite Eggman theme in any game. I think I like Big Arm and Doomsday Zone are different. I mean like just an Eggman theme. Just like whenever you fight Eggman, this is the theme that comes up, and I love this theme so much. I love it a little more than the Sonic 2 theme. I do love the Sonic 2 theme, but I think this theme is like better. It's like so much more hype, and it's definitely the leading example of like, oh my god, this soundtrack freaking slaps. Both Hydro City acts are beautiful, especially Act 2. I love both, but Act 2 is probably my favorite. One thing that made me appreciate Act 2 more was that I love listening to Sonic music on the go or whenever I'm working or just in general. I don't mind listening to video game OSTs by themselves because they're just that good. There is a channel called, I don't want to get it wrong, Carpathia 808, where he basically, his whole channel is that he makes deconstructions of songs and shows you all the different channels and how all the different instruments and how like every channel with all the music. I'm not really in depth on how producing and stuff like that works, but I just love seeing all the different parts of the songs, and seeing his Hydro City Act 2 deconstruction, it made me appreciate the songs just so much more, and the whole soundtrack of this game, because I've listened to all the deconstruction tracks for all of the songs of this game, and they're just so good. Like, they put so much effort into this soundtrack, and I recommend, if you've never seen the deconstruction stuff, I'll put it in the description, but I would recommend y'all check it out, because you will see how much care is put into this soundtrack, not just by hearing it, but just seeing like this soundtrack is in depth, and I love it so much. Like I said before, I hate Marble Garden and Carnival Night Zone acts. I hate how they sound terrible. I love Ice Cap, I love both of them, but I think Ice Cap one's obviously, you know, the better one, the more iconic one. But Ice Cap, Act 2 is really nice. It's really chill. It's like definitely like gives you like that snowy feeling. Like Ice Cap Act 1 definitely gives you the most snowy, like chill, like oh my god, this sounds amazing feeling. But Act 2 is also like really good. It's really chill and nice and like laid back. I definitely like, it's one of my favorite definitely Sonic tracks of all time. So this whole game is my favorite Sonic track. Like this and Sonic Mania are my top 2 favorite Sonic soundtracks of all time, next to Sonic 2 and then Sonic CD Japanese. But this act is, Ice Cap is definitely in the top like 5 favorite Sonic songs of all time. Act 1, obviously. Launch Bass, I like Launch Bass a lot because it's really like low key, kind of. I do like a lot of the ad-lipping in the back, like you always hear the go, go, go,
go go. Like it gives me a lot of Sonic Rush music a lot. Like Sonic Rush has a lot of music like that, like Wrapped in Black, Back to Back. The whole soundtrack has a lot of music like that, where it's a lot of like ad-lipping in the background, and it sounds great. It sounds amazing. And then we get into the big arm boss fight, which the music is amazing. It is so good. I love it so much. It is definitely one of my favorite tracks of this game, and it goes so hard. All of Eggman's themes, when he's fighting you, they go hard. Like they go hard. They give him all this like menacing feeling, but also this menacing feeling that like this man has a really good taste in music. Every time I fight against Eggman, I imagine that he is having a speaker blasting this music. I feel like he would do that. I don't feel like it's just a game thing. I feel like Eggman would actually like blast music while he's like beating your ass. So that's one of my favorite things. That's the end of the Sonic 3 portion. For Sonic 3 and Knuckles, I do like a lot of the music, but there's some I don't like. I'm not fucking with super heavy. Like I love Mushroom Act 1. I love it. I love Mushroom Hill Act 1 so much. It is so good. Act 2's okay, but it's not as good as Act 1. Act 1 is crazy good. And then we have Flying Battery. Flying Battery is hands down my favorite of this portion. I love Act 1. I personally prefer Act 2, but both of them go crazy hard. I love them both so much. And like I said, check out the deconstruction of these songs in the description. Act 2 of Flying Battery is so hard. Also for Hydro City, check out, yeah, like I said, I do like Sandopolis Act 1 a lot. I like it a lot. I like the music a lot. I don't like Act 2 really like at all like that, maybe because I just hate the stage, but Act 1 Sandopolis, go. It's a vibe. I'm not even gonna lie. Like when I was doing Act 1, I was jamming my head. I wasn't upset like I was in Act 2. But I was going through it. I was going through it. Fuck Sandopolis Act 2. I love Lava Reef. I actually don't prefer one over the other. I do like Act 1 and Act 2 equally, but I both listen to them in different like different moods, and I love them both. I think they're both really great. Not bad at all. We're not gonna talk about Hidden Palace like that. It doesn't really matter. Sky Sanctuary Zone, it's a good track. I feel like it's a little overrated. Some people talk about how it's like one of the best tracks. I don't think it's one of the best tracks. It's a good track, but it's not like as like bouncy as, it's really bouncy, but it's not as like hard as like some other tracks in this game that just are hard, like Hydro City Act 2. So but it's a good track. It's a good track. Defeg is it's nice. It's a vibe. Like Act 1's a vibe. I ain't gonna lie. It is hard. Act 2 is okay, but Act 1, it's hard. And then all the bosses, and then the boss at the end, the theme is hard. And then we go into the final track. Well, the second final track, besides the end credits track, which the credits track is amazing. But Doomsday Zone. This track is hard. This track is what also adds on to how good the ending boss fight of this game is, and how it just gives you that spectacle. It is one of the hardest themes in Sonic history. One of the hardest boss themes, and one of my favorite boss themes of all time. I think it's up there with like One Winged Angel and stuff like that. It is just so good. Like, I think we can all agree that even if you don't know Sonic, you've probably seen or heard of this theme. It is great. I hope the overall consensus of this is that y'all can see I absolutely love this soundtrack. I listen to Sonic 3 Knuckles. The soundtrack is probably this and Sonic Mania are probably the Sonic games that or video game OSTs in general that I just listen to on the daily, that I just love listening to. And I really wish they would put all the music
on Apple Music and Spotify, they have a lot of Sonic music on there, but it's mostly 3D music and Sonic 1, 2, and CD, but not Sonic 3, because, you know, there's a lot of legal problems with getting the music, especially, like, you know, the old version of the Sonic 3 version of Ice Cap, which is different because, you know, the Michael Jackson stuff. But it's really hard to get the rights for those songs, so I don't think they're ever going to be on Apple Music. But if they can do it one day, even if they have the prototype versions of Ice Cap and Launch Base and the, you know, the Michael Jackson songs are taken out, I'll still enjoy the other versions of these songs like Mushroom Hill and Lava Reef and stuff like that. So I'm really hoping that one day we're able to get them on Apple Music and Spotify. Hashtag bring Sonic 3 OST on the Apple Music. But this soundtrack is amazing. It is amazing, and I think like all y'all should play this game and play this and listen to the soundtrack. So we're gonna lead into our conclusion. In conclusion, this entire review is biased. If this hasn't been proven yet, this entire review is biased. I love this game so much, and I have so much love for Sonic 3. I've been playing it since I was a kid. I've been playing it since I was in my diapers, and I love this game. I played it when I played on my Genesis, and then on my DS, I played the old Sonic Classic Collection, and then now I'm playing it on my PC, and I want to eventually, even though I don't like Sonic Origins Collection, I do love Sonic 3 and Sonic 2 and Sonic 1 so much that I just want to show my support, and I might end up getting it anyway. But I just love Sonic so much, especially 2D Sonic, and this game is the leading example of why I love Sonic and why, even with some of the flaws, with some of the levels that I don't like, I still think that this game has the best level design and the best gameplay of any of the classic Sonic games. It is long. If you're not into longer platformers, I can understand. So you might get burnt out. I sometimes got a little burnt out when I got to Carnival Night a little bit, but after that, I was just having so much fun because I just don't like those tracks. But I just don't like those zones. But this whole game is just great, and you can play it. You can play it for free. I'm playing the Sonic Angel Island Revisited version. I will put a link in the description. You can literally play that version of it. It is free. Play it. Play Sonic 3. You can get it on everything. You can literally get Sonic games. You can get all these Sonic games on literally everything. You can't get Sonic 3 on your phone, but you can get Sonic 1 on your phone, Sonic 2 on your phone. You can get Sonic 1 on the Switch. It's on every console. Now it's on every console, especially because of the Origins Collection. You have no excuse not to play these games. If you want to play them, play them. I love this game so much. And this will be the end of this video. This will be the end of this video. I love Sonic 3. Let me know down in the comments what you love about Sonic, Sonic 2, Sonic 3. What do you think about my opinions on this game? And let me know any memories you had with Sonic 1, 2, or 3. Mostly 3, because this is the type of video. But let me know your thoughts, and I'm gonna see you guys next time. Thanks for watching the video. Peace. Thank you guys for watching this video. This is my first review styled video, kind of like this. I really want to talk about Sonic 3 and Knuckles because Sonic Frontier is coming out, and this is my first like review style of this type of game. I personally, I write bullet points. The way I do this is I'm kind of doing it like a school project where I write. Me personally, I don't like writing scripts, because I feel like I can write a script, but I feel like whenever I write a script, I feel like I'm reading off the script and it sounds really bland, and or it sounds like y'all know what I'm reading off a script. And I like being able to talk to y'all and make videos like these reviews type of videos, like I'm just talking to you like you're a homie, like we're just chilling across the table from each other, just talking about why I love this game or my opinions. And I want these reviews to kind of be like that. If you like this video, let me know down below if you want to see more videos like this, and tell me like what you like about the review or what you didn't like that I can do better, and I would love to hear that. I love this game so much, and my goal is that after this, I just finished recording this. I'm about to go edit all this and hopefully make a editing video for this. It's gonna take me a little bit, but my goal is to do Sonic Adventure 2 right after this and talk about that before Sonic Frontiers comes out. My original plan was to do 4 games, but I don't think I'll be able to have enough time to do 4 games. So I'm just gonna talk about my 2 Sonic games that I have like some of the biggest opinions of, that I can really go into detail about why I like and don't like it. And so the next video, hopefully, or the next time I do this, is going to be on Sonic Adventure 2. and hopefully I can get this out before Sonic Frontiers comes out, and then my next video like this will be on Sonic Frontiers. So thank you again for watching the video. I really appreciate the support. Let me know anything I could do better or anything you like about the video in the comments down below. And thanks you for watching the video. And if you want to see more videos like this, check out my Sonic tier list video, and check out I upload fighting game stuff as well. So check that out as well. So thank you guys for the support, and I'm gonna see you guys later. Peace.